Hello and welcome to Cracked Open, a podcast guiding you on your journey to becoming a vessel of unconditional love. And this is your host, Beck Milonis, High Priestess, Channel, and Activator. Join me on this series as I share reflections, insights, and channel transmissions from my journey of walking the initiation path. Each episode is a unique transmission containing supportive frequencies to facilitate the deepest healing, activation, and reconnection with your soul. I invite you to open your mind and set the intention to receive this episode into your heart space. Let's go. Hello and welcome to another episode. There's a storm going outside. There's a fucking loud bird outside the window. I'm having a cup of tea. So there's going to be lots of little sounds going on in this episode. And it's an invitation for us to be super informal as I come to you with this transmission today. This is actually my third podcast that I'm recording today, which is incredible. I still have the energy today to do another podcast. So how amazing is that? Goes to show when you are embodying your purpose and your art, which is what I'm talking about today, how things flow and how things feel easy and exciting. To be honest with you, it was like, I have to record another episode. I really want to. I'm joyful and excited about that. And I truly desire to be here sharing with you all. This podcast is purely a passion project for me of like, I really want to fucking show up in this way. And it feels really good for me to show up in this way. I was having a conversation with my dad this morning, and he was asking me, like you're putting a lot of time and energy into this podcast, and how's it going to lead to money, and how's it going, how does it work, and blah blah blah. What are the how does this work, and how are you going to find clients through this, and blah, blah, blah. And I was expressing to him, like, excuse me, I was expressing to him just how much enjoyment I'm getting from it, right? How much joy I'm getting in sharing this stuff and how much I'm just enjoying the process of devoting myself and showing up in this way with no expectation and just sharing my art and sharing my truth. And my excitement about it can be felt, right? Like you can feel I'm genuinely fucking excited about this and I'm passionate about it. And the concept of just showing up and speaking about spirituality has been a passion of mine for a very long time, right? So today I'm here to talk about purpose. I'm here to talk about embodying your purpose, discovering your purpose, figuring out what your dharma is, what your role to play here is in life, and invitations for you to start looking at what that might be for you. And through the lens of my own story, I hope that I give you, windows to look through to discover what that means for you. I'm going to have a little sip of water. Hold on. And so for me, excuse me, my purpose really revealed itself through the process of my spiritual awakening. I started on this journey, and I've said this on a lot of other podcasts that I've been a guest on, because everyone always asks me, how do you get into what you do? Like, that's a crazy story. Tell us, how did you become this witch? Right? And so, excuse me if you've already heard this story, and bear with me. I'm going to try and condense it down as quickly as possible. From a young age, I always knew that I was here to do something with my life. Like I knew that I had this burning mission, this desire to do something. I knew I came here for a fucking reason. And I had this purpose that I knew I was here to fulfill. And it was like I would not rest until I figured out what that was, right? So prior to kind of like my fully awakening, I said not fully awakening, that's not even English, my beginnings into the healing and initiation path, I was really looking at what do I desire to do with my life? Like what lights me up? What makes me excited? What is the reason that I'm here? And many of us, star seeds, light workers, ascended, souls from other places who've come here who are listening to this podcast, because you wouldn't be listening to this podcast if you weren't on some way on a spiritual kind of journey, which tells me that you are probably not human in nature, like you're an alien, which is an amazing thing, by the way. I'm not saying that as an insult. Aliens are great. We have this drive within us this desire, this burning desire of, I know that I'm here for something. I know that I have this mission that I came here to fulfill, this purpose to play, this gift to share with the world, right? And not having that, or not knowing what that is the most horrible experience, right? So I was super, super depressed without this purpose. I felt lost. I felt meaningless, purposeless in my life. And until I began this journey of trying to figure out what that was, I felt really unfulfilled. And so my journey in my early 20s, I'm about to turn 30, guys. Oh my God, 30, what a milestone. But my journey in my early 20s was going through this long journey of exploring a whole bunch of different tangents and things and putting on a bunch of hats to figure out what I was not, right? Or what I thought, would fulfill me and I'd enjoy, but isn't actually my purpose, or little tangents that have taught me something. Or it's interesting, all of the tangents that I went on, they've actually informed what I do now. So for instance, I worked in film and television. I studied media. I was a writer. I was a musician, a performer, a burlesque performer, a dancer, what else did I do? I wrote copy for people. I worked in editing studios. I did a lot of sound production. All of these different little forays into different worlds. I worked in hospitality for like a really long time, over a decade, right? So that really got me to know people and understand people. I studied psychology briefly. I did a whole bunch of shit. I was a coach, right? I wore a lot of different hats until I found one that felt really good. And actually, I used to be like, I wasted all this fucking time. I have 2 degrees that I don't use. I have a diploma in film. I have this media degree, and I have half of I didn't even finish it. I went to go do my, what's it called? Honors, not honors, after postgrad, my postgrad in psychology, did a year of psychology and then decided it wasn't for me. So I did a bunch of things and I was like, what a waste. What a waste having all this knowledge and wisdom and wasting my time. And now I look at it like, actually, every single thing that I did, I'm using here. Like, the reason why I could put this podcast together so quickly and I knew how to do all the technical stuff. And guys, the song at the start of this thing is, I wrote this, I produced it. It's my music. How cool is that? Like, I did the graphics for my own thing, did the fucking music for my own thing. The performing that I used to do is obviously coming through in how I tell stories, how I speak, the charismatic way that I talk, even the tone of my voice, the experiences that I had with people and getting to know people and understand people came from all that time in hospitality. Lots of stuff, lots of things that I did that I thought, what a fucking waste of time, have actually influenced and played into what I'm doing now, right? So I'm saying, like, if you've gone on a lot of tangents in your life, don't think that it's a waste. They're experiences that are guiding you closer to the thing that you were here for. And that thing might change, right? Because what that purpose is in one moment might not be where it leads you into the next moment. So I'm really passionate at the moment about speaking, right? And that's always been this desire. And I'm going to come back to that vision that I had for my life in a moment. But it's always been my desire since I was a young girl to be on a stage, like speaking or performing or talking, or to massive audiences, right? I've always been passionate about that. And at the moment, that's where the trajectory of my mission is taking me, to be doing mass activations and speaking on a podcast, which reaches more people than my individual one-on-one containers or my group containers or whatever that is, right? I'm seeing how the mission is shifting now into more speaking, into more showing up in this way. Whereas in the past, it was more doing healings and activations and one-on-one sessions and channeling sessions and writing a book and all of these other things, right? So that purpose might shift and change over the period and the course of your life, because what your purpose really truly is your soul expressing itself as art through you, right? So your soul purpose, your mission, is truly to be expressed in the fullest essence of your soul, of your art, of your truth, in whatever medium and way that spirit, life, energy wants to move through you. Little sip of tea. Give me one moment. And so that's changed. Like, there's moments where my purpose is to create beautiful healing music. And I'm really passionate about that. And that's my art. And that drives me. Sometimes it's to create visual art. And I really enjoy that. Sometimes it's to write. Sometimes, there's lots of different things, lots of different hats. And all of it is my purpose, because all of it is a part of me and how I'm choosing to express. So literally, your soul purpose is to express yourself in whatever way feels juicy and alive and exciting and passionate in that moment for you. And sometimes that translates to you getting paid for that. It's really amazing when that happens, because it means that you don't have to do a job that supports your purpose. And sometimes it doesn't, and you have to do other stuff to be able to support you or accept support from someone else or whatever else, right? So I remember when I began to consciously manifest my life, when I got into the law of attraction, this was about 8 years ago. And I was sitting down, I was like, this is probably some bullshit, some new age bullshit that is not real. But if, there's the smallest chance in hell that this is real, I'm going to give it a shot. What do I have to lose? And at the time, as I've said in a previous podcast, I had no framework when I was talking about soul aligned desires, right? Go listen to that one as well, because this will help you. I think it was episode 1, in really discovering what's a soul aligned desire for you to create. I had no framework or understanding of what it would be like to be a healer, to be a channel, to be all the things that I am and I do at the moment. So I couldn't even visualize or see what that was. But there was something in my heart that was calling me to this concept that I was going to get paid literally just for being myself, right? I was like, I just want to fucking show up when it feels good for me on my own terms, be my own boss, get paid to be me, and then hang out by a pool for the rest of my time. And my life has looked like that, really. Like truly that's what most of my life looks like, right? Be on my own terms, be able to travel wherever I wanted to, not have to answer to anyone, like not have to work in an office. And the other core thing that I discovered was that I wanted it to be beneficial to other people and to help people in some way. Didn't know what that would look like, had no idea that the coaching industry was even a thing at this time, didn't even fathom that I could make money just sharing my wisdom. But I knew that literally what I wanted to do was just show up as myself and get paid for that in some way, right? And I also think I wrote something about writing a book or sharing in some way. There were different things that, like, within that framework, I knew that I was here to create, right? And so it took me on this long process of all of these tangents, and I was a coach for a while, and I thought that was how I was here to. I was going to be the next Tony Robbins or Gabby Bernstein, and that was how I was here to show up in the world, right? And then I was shown like all of these gifts. And then slowly through the process of that, it's been refined and refined and refined to lead me to this point now where I'm channeling podcasts, which have like energetic activations within them. And that's probably going to change to doing live big immersions and activations. So it's changed over time as I've evolved and grown and learned more about me. But the core that I recognized was that purpose was something which truly fulfilled me and made me happy and was me expressing myself and my art in the world. So your purpose is your permission that you're giving others, right, to show up in their fullness, in their essence, to be themselves. Your purpose is to shine your soul light at its fullest capacity, which then gives other people permission to shine their light and be themselves, right? I dream of this beautiful new earth. And what the new earth means to me is this environment where we all literally get to show up and do the thing that fucking lights us up. And it's our gift to the world, right? It's our service to humanity because we also love doing it. So we get to do something that lights us up and lights other people up. And all of us just do the thing that we're really good at and we really love and we really enjoy. And we just contribute in that way. And it's an energy exchange versus getting paid or money. Unfortunately, in this current paradigm that we're shifting out of, money's still a thing. So there's still, a need to be supported, to be financially viable, to have income, to live. But so long as you are pursuing your purpose and you're heading towards it, you will always have the support that you need, right? It's literally in our soul contract that if we are here consciously tuning into what is my dharma, what is my purpose, what is my gift, how am I going to serve with my soul essence in the world, like what do I have to share, that's truly something that lights me up. And me being in my joy gives people, it brings love and joy to other people and gives them permission to be in their joy and their freedom and their art. We will always be supported in some way by the universe. Like literally the universe wants to support us. It's in our soul contract that in order to fulfill our dharma, we will have everything that we need. And that might be the financial support. That might be the right people at the right time coming into your space to offer you an opportunity. That might mean the growth and the trials and the tribulations that you have to go through to be initiated into your path to get to that point, right? So a lot of the ways that the universe has been supporting me on this path is all the initiations and things I had to go through in order to come to this place where I can share these messages as a pure vessel, right? So all of it is here to support you to fulfill that, because your soul has a core desire to fulfill its purpose. You're supposed to fulfill your purpose. You came here with a mission, right? And all of us have something that is dear to us that we came here to share with the world, that's going to help the world in some way, that's going to give people hope or happiness. Or it could be something as simple as like you're really a beautiful cook and your food makes people happy. Or maybe your purpose is to be a mother, to bring some children into the world that have a purpose. Or, it could be really simple. Like you could just be here to bring more light and love and joy to people's lives, just as a human. Like it's not even a thing that you're doing. It's just who you're being, right? Your purpose is who you're being on a daily basis. And it's so funny. Every time I meet someone and we get talking about spirituality and all this stuff, and they're like, aren't you tired of talking about this? Do you want to talk about this? I feel like you're just teaching me all these things and you're talking. And is this not tiring for you? It's your job. Like, don't you get exhausted talking about this? And I'm like, I literally fucking love talking about spirituality. Here I am, podcast number 3 in one day, because I also love the sound of my own voice. But I just had coffee with a friend. I talked about spirituality with her for an hour in the break that, between this recording. I'm going to go meet up with another friend. We're probably going to talk about spirituality and healing for another hour. And I could talk about this all day, every day until my face goes blue and it doesn't feel hard for me, right? It just feels so natural for me. It's like it's who I am. I can't not talk about this stuff, right? And maybe I have some of my identity tied into that and I should look at that. But like, I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about talking about the soul's journey and evolution and growth. And it's my whole life is based on these principles and these values, right? So I don't feel like I'm working when I'm doing this. This doesn't feel like work to me. When I'm in a session with a client, unless I'm, doing moving energy and doing work that's taxing on my physical vessel, it doesn't feel like work to me. It feels like I get to show up and just be myself. And in the process of being myself, I'm helping that person, right? So your purpose won't feel hard. It won't feel like work. And we are taught that the things that are worth having have to be difficult, right? That's a really loud slurp. That in order to be successful, we need to work really hard and work our asses off and put in the time and do something that makes us feel fucking miserable and slog at it for our whole lives. And that can't be any more contrary. Like it's literally the opposite of the true nature of the universe, which is we get to do and we're allowed to do the things that feel easeful and natural for us, right? So it's natural for me to talk about spirituality. I enjoy it. I love it. It lights me up. If you see me talking about this stuff, I'm fucking passionate about it. I could talk about it until my face goes blue. I never get old. It never gets old for me. I never get over talking about it. Clearly, that's my purpose because I enjoy it so much, right? And it's who you are being as much as what you are doing, right? So for me, being this vessel of unconditional love and being someone on the healing path and being someone who shares my experiences just because it's who I am, is how I'm impacting people most of the time. Like a lot of the work that I do on my mission, and I used inverted commas for those of you who aren't watching the video, isn't work. It's literally me being sat next to someone who needed to hear a message that I was talking about when we were having a discussion, right? It's me smiling at someone who's having a bad day. It's me picking up the phone to my friend when they're having a meltdown, right? You're impacting people without even fucking realizing it. And without even trying, just by being you. You were lighting up whole fucking rooms just by being in that room, right? Your frequency, your essence is affecting people in a positive way without you even realizing, and sometimes in a negative way, but it's affecting people without you even realizing that it's affecting people most of the time. And so when we talk about beingness and embodying our soul as a purpose, all of us have a codex we're here to share with the world, right? And a codex could be things that you're here to teach. So, for instance, part of my codex is the priestess path, it's initiations into the priestess path, it's healing, channeling, spirituality, wisdom. Part of my codex is music creation, art, whatever that is. But then there are other parts of your codex which are literally who you're being, like the qualities that you're embodying. So things that are just innately part of you. So for me, it's like compassion or softness or divine femininity. These are all things that are part of my codex. Playfulness, being silly, right? These are parts that I shut down for a long time because I was like, people won't take me seriously. But that's part of my codex, is to make a dick out of myself on here and make jokes and be silly and light and bring humor and lightness to spirituality and heavy topics. Part of your codex might be kindness, might be tolerance, forgiveness. I had a friend who it was so clear that his codex that he was here to share was forgiveness, and how forgiving and tolerant he was, tolerance to other people, right? Um, so it's also in who you're being. It's how you're embodying those qualities that are innately part of your soul. So we have human qualities or a codex that our personality brings. So for instance, part of my personality is sassiness, like kind of toughness around the edges sometimes of like don't fuck with me. But I also think that's part of my soul codex. I also just chose a human that has that as part of, like the elements of part soul, part human. Intelligence that's a human quality for me. Perhaps my soul is also intelligent, but like the intelligence or I guess being good at things in a human lens of like intelligence, like book smart or whatever that was when I was younger. These are more human qualities that are this human body, right? Like, so this human with this, even the way that I look is part of my codex. This physical body that I chose to come into this tanned, ethnic, Mediterranean looking body for some reason with curves, because that was part of the codex that I'm here to share in some way. And that would have benefited me on my mission, my voice, my tone, my mannerisms, my upbringing. They're part of my codex, but they're more of my human codex. Whereas like my soul is like the strength, the courage, the tenacity, the truth, the love, I hope you understand what I'm saying. So there's aspects that you're here to embody, and then there's ways in which you contribute with work or actions or like art. I want to call it art, right? So your purpose is to share yourself in whatever way feels good for you, that feels alive, that feels joyful. And truly, the biggest signpost to show us whether we're in alignment with our soul purpose or not is, does this thing bring me joy, right? Does it feel good? Do I lose? You can look at your life, right? Look, if you're like, what the fuck is my purpose? Look at the things that you do that bring you joy, that you can lose hours. You go into a flow state doing them, right? Maybe that's writing or creating art or talking about spirituality or whatever it is, right? What do you do that brings you joy? That's one window to look through. Another window, excuse me, I had a coffee and it's affecting me. Another window to look through is, what am I naturally good at, right? Like, I'm really good at computer shit. Just really good at opening a computer and figuring out pretty much any program. I taught myself how to produce music on Ableton, which is notoriously difficult, in like a day, without watching any videos. I can do the same with any kind of editing software or graphic software or website software or anything technical and creative. I'm really fucking good at it, but I'm useless at painting, right? So that's not part of my natural abilities that I'm good at. I'm terrible at maths. Science, I have no interest in it. So there's things that I'm not so good at. I'm not really good at things that require logic and structure and discipline sometimes. So they're your strengths, things that you're just naturally good at. I seem to grasp concepts really easy. I seem to I seem to communicate very easily. It took me a while to get here, but I have no problem being vulnerable and sharing, which for some people, that's really difficult to do, right? I'm extroverted, I'm introverted, whatever the qualities are, whatever you find naturally good. Some people are really good at talking to people. They're really good at understanding people. They're sensitive to people. Sensitivity is part of your purpose. Are you sensitive to others? Can you read people? Are you good at making people happy, bringing lightness to a situation, right? Or are you more serious and moody? Do you offer someone a more logical perspective, more grounded? Are you more grounded or are you more airy, right? These are all things to look at. So, what do you enjoy doing? If money was not an object, what would you want to, like, how would your life look? What would you do every single fucking day if money wasn't an object? I'm telling you, because I've had this vision. My vision is to be on a property somewhere in nature with my man and my babies, just creating podcasts and making music and sharing my art and doing free activations and healings and literally hanging out with spirit all day. That's my vision for my life and writing, right? Even if money wasn't an object, I'd be doing that because that shit lights me up, right? So that's an inquiry piece for you of like, what would I be doing if money wasn't an object and I could just do this all the time? What lights me up? Number one. Number two, what am I good at naturally? Make a list. Create a list now of like 50 things that you are really good at. And some people will struggle to do this. I struggled to do this the first time I tried to do this because it was hard for me to look at my positive traits. What am I naturally good at? What do other people always say? Wow, you're so good at that. Or I can't believe you just got that and you're natural. You just fuck, like that's amazing. What are your traits and qualities? Make a list of 50 of your best qualities, right? So are you soft? Are you open? Are you kind? Are you patient? What are your qualities as a person? Um, what do you lose time doing? What do you enjoy doing? These are all windows to look through, and it might give you some sense of a bigger picture of like why you're here. What lights you up, right? What are you fucking passionate about? Your purpose is something that you are passionate about, that you enjoy doing, that you want to do. And keep asking yourself these questions, right? At the start of my journey, it was really difficult for me to pinpoint because I was so depressed, like what I actually brings me joy, what brings me joy, what I love doing. Because I was so removed from joy that I didn't even know, or I didn't allow myself to create just for the sake of it. And so then look back when I was a kid, what did I like doing as a kid? What was I always doing? What did they always laugh about that I was doing, guys? I used to dance around in stupid outfits and pretend I was a stripper when I was a kid. I definitely fulfilled that purpose in my 20s. I made all my dreams come true. Yay. But I also used to make up stories and get a microphone and pretend I was performing and, create newsletters of the Salmon Press, talking about some shit and just sharing for no reason, right? Sharing my art. I loved cheering people up and being silly. I loved meeting people and talking to people. I was very extroverted as a child. I was always really sassy and loved creating. So, what did you love to do as a child before the world told you no, you can't do that, or no, you need to grow up, or no, it's not sensible, or no, I need, or your parents put pressure on you, or no, you can't do that because that's not a viable career and you're not going to make money doing that, or no one will accept you if you do that, right? What was it that you truly loved to do before life got in the way? Another great window to look at. If you're struggling to come up with this stuff, ask the people around you for their reflections. Hey, what do you think my strengths are? What do you think my weaknesses are? What do you think I'm really good at? What's your perspective of what I'm really good at, right? The next thing that you can do to figure out your purpose is to start connecting to your soul more, right? It's crazy the number of people who come to me and they're like, I don't know what my purpose is. I feel so disconnected from my big vision, but they've never actually sat down to A, connect to their soul. So they don't do work to connect to their higher self. And B, they've never given themselves permission to even have a bigger vision or think about what would truly fulfill them or what they desire, right? They've never even had the time to look at what I want to create. They're just like, well, I don't like working 9 to 5. I don't like being broke. I don't like the life that I'm in. And my reality is miserable, but I'm not even going to give myself permission to dream. Like, if you could dream up the most wild, crazy fucking scenario for yourself that would be fun to create, what would that be? Right? Because for me, this was a pipe dream. This was some fucking, I was like, this is not going to work. This is crazy. These new age people are full of shit. But what do I have to lose at this point? Because I'm miserable and I'm going to kill myself. Right. So that's when I wrote down, I want to just talk and be myself and not have to work and get paid to do something that doesn't feel like work. And I just get to be me. Didn't think that that was actually a reality that could be possible. And here I am. And while there's been moments on this journey where I've been broke or I've been stressed about money or the clients haven't come in or I've had to rely on my parents or whatever it is, I've literally always been supported as long as I am on the trajectory of my mission. And from time to time, I have a tantrum and I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm going to go become a barista. I don't even give a shit anymore. Fuck spirituality. Fuck spirit. Fuck this mission. It's too much. I'm just going to go work at Costco or whatever, right? Like just quit everything and work in hospitality, which is not a bad thing. I'm not shitting on people who work in hospo. I have a lot of respect for them, actually. And I think about myself actually doing that. And I know that I had this conversation with my friend Paul this morning. I was like, I'm now considering just like giving up on life. And I've had many moments recently where I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to become a stripper. And he was like, I have that moment every day, Beck. And neither of us are going to do that. We know that we're not going to do that because that wouldn't truly fulfill us. And we know that we do it for 5 minutes and then be like, oh, this sucks. And I can't do this, right? So you might have moments on this path where you're like, fuck it, I don't want to, this is crazy. I'm just going to give up and fulfilling my purpose is too hard. And so I quit and I'm just going to do something easy. But your soul will always call you back because it's a purpose that you're here to fulfill. So, and you will feel so fucking unfulfilled until you've found that and you're pursuing it. And there will be something in your heart that pulls you back to it all the time, even when it's difficult, right? So, one thing I can say about myself, I can say a lot of really bad things about myself, but one thing I'm really proud of is my devotion to my mission. I really fucking embody that. I'm devoted as fuck, no matter how hard it gets, no matter what spirit throws at me, what shit I have to go through, being broke, being fucking miserable, like whatever it is. I'm like, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. I don't care how many times I fail, I'm not giving up. Failure is not an option in my mind in this lifetime. I'm not abandoning my mission. It's everything to me, right? It is fucking everything to me. And I can say that I embody that. And I'm really proud of that quality within me. And a lot of people don't have that devotion to their purpose. And they want this life that is amazing and creative. And they sit around thinking, oh, it could be better for me. But they don't show up and consistently take the action towards their vision or their mission because there's this belief of, I need to know all the steps, or I need to know where this is going. Or I don't know, like, for instance, when I tune into this vision of me channeling to massive audiences, many people have seen this for me as well, by the way, like it's been validated that this is where I'm going. When I started this process a couple years ago, I had no fucking idea how I was going to get there. I had no idea how to even do healing work. I was like, I don't know. You're telling me I'm this shaman and I'm this healer and this priestess and I'm here to do this work. I don't know how to do this work. I don't know how to do a healing. I don't know how to channel. I don't know how to talk to spirit guides. I don't know any of the things that my soul knew, right? And I'd be like, but how? But how? Show me the how. Like, you want me to do this purpose, but how? And I got so attached to the big vision that I couldn't even see the next step in front of me. Like, what was that small next step that was going to get me there? And the next step and the next step. And the truth is, you don't know the fucking how. And you don't need to know the fucking how when you're on step one, right? You just need to know the next step. And the next step is always the thing that feels juicy and exciting for you. So I don't know where this podcast is going to go, but I sat in the void space of nothingness for a couple months since I went to Perth and facilitated this amazing, beautiful activation workshop there. And that felt like, fuck yes, this is moving in the direction of my purpose. I did this massive activation in a chapel, in a freaking chapel around the witch wound. And I was like, this is it. I could feel myself fully embodying my purpose and the way that I was speaking and the reactions people were having and how much joy it brought me. And I was like, this is incredible. This is my purpose. And since then, I haven't known what the next step is. I'm like, I want to create that again and bigger, but I don't know what the next step is, right? What's the next thing? And I've been in this void space for a while, waiting and waiting and waiting. And I don't know. I have this vision of me doing these activations and these mass healings and all of this, spoken word stuff, in-person retreats, but I don't know what the next step to take is. And that kept me in paralysis for a while. until I was like, wait a minute, I really enjoy talking, right? I'm here to do speaking. I know that that's my next vision. I'm here to speak on stages. So what's the logical next step for me? Well, it would be to speak more. It's really fucking obvious, right? And not only that, but it was the only thing that I've been desiring to do lately. Like the only thing that was lighting me up was when I'd have a podcast interview scheduled. Didn't want to show up on social media, didn't really feel excited about being on Instagram or Facebook. Felt really dead to me for a while, both of those platforms, and I didn't know why. And now that I'm doing this, it's like, oh, fucking, of course, right in your face. Like the reason why you hired an agency to go on other people's podcasts was showing you this potential of having your own podcast and how fulfilling that would be. And the fulfillment doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be a certain outcome or result from this, that I'm going to get a million fucking followers or make money from it. It's I'm expressing my art, right? And so this is what feels good for me to do right now. And I don't know what the next step after this is going to be. I'm going to figure it out when I get there. But it's being prepared to let go of the how and let go of the needing to know every single step on the way, and trusting that in each moment there's a step for you to take. You will feel it and you will know it, and your soul will guide you to it. You cannot miss what is destined for you. You'll have an impulse, you'll have a drive, you'll have a little nudge, right? So for me, that little nudge that started this whole big freaking journey was a foray into the coaching industry. And I had a little nudge well, it was actually quite a big nudge at the time because it was a $6,000 investment, which scared the shit out of me. But I had a nudge to join a coaching certification. And then that got the ball rolling, right? The whole ball rolling. And then I had a nudge when I was being told that I was a healer and I had to let go of the coaching industry and open to being this healer. Had a nudge to do one workshop with the Dark Goddess with Kalima, which then opened up all of the activations and the initiations and all of this like mystical journey that I started going on. And then from there, the nudge was, okay, why don't you start a healing container for 2 or 3 women? And then from that, the nudge was starting to do more one-on-one sessions, or right, like it was, wow, that's really loud thunder and it scared the shit out of me. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not because I have sound canceling on, but wow. There's like one step and then one step and then one step. Had you told me when I enrolled into that coaching diploma or whatever it was, certification, which doesn't mean shit anyway now, that had you told me that I'd be talking to aliens and channeling frequency and talking on podcasts and what all this stuff, I would have been like, I don't see that. I don't understand. But the journey was super important because it took me here, right? It led me here. So start asking yourself, what am I being guided to do? What feels good? What action feels good for me to take? And stop getting an analysis paralysis around, but how is this going to bring in money? How is this going to bring in clients? How is this going to take me towards my purpose? I don't know how going to meet this friend for coffee, which feels like I should be doing, and I'm getting this intuitive nudge. I don't know how that's going to lead to my purpose, but trusting and showing up. I'm going to do the next episode I'm going to do is talking about intuition and learning how to trust these nudges when they come up, because that deserves a whole episode on its own. And I'll teach you how to do what I'm saying. So teach you how to trust your intuition and know what those nudges and pulls are. But if you keep asking, give me the steps, give me the next step, give me the next logical step, give me the next intuitive nudge, give me the next thing that feels good, and just start following those breadcrumbs, you will inevitably reach what it is that you're here to do. And it might take you on a crazy 10-year tangent like it did for me, right? When I started asking, what's my purpose? What's my mission? Like I said, I went through a lot of things that were not my purpose, not my mission. But all of them taught me something that I'm now using and embodying in my purpose and my mission, right? All of them were creating the person, the version of me that you see here. Every single foray I had into random various things, even being a dancer, taught me something and helped me to do what I'm doing now. So don't discount it, even if it seems crazy and illogical and you can't see how it's even mildly related to what you think you're here to do. Trust it. Trust what life is showing you, what brings you excitement, what brings you joy, where your heart is pulling you, right? And it might take you to some crazy places, but it's all experience and it's all a journey. And your purpose and your mission is going to change and evolve and grow as you do. And that's perfect. And so the invitation is to show up in every day asking what would fulfill me, what would bring me joy, what would help others in any way, how can I serve in the world, right? Keep asking, universe, use me as a vessel of divine love to serve. Show me how I can serve today. How can I be of service? If you are asking every day, show me how I can be of service. Soul, show me how I can embody more of your light here. Show me the things that I'm here to do or experience or be that would help me get closer to my truer essence and help this ascension process for humanity and help me serve in some way, help me bring more love into the world, whatever it is. You will literally always be shown, because the universe wants to support you in fulfilling your mission, right? You will always be supported in fulfilling your mission. So I hope that serves. I hope you got something out of this and you have some windows to look through. And if you don't know what that is and you feel really lost and sad and disconnected because you know that you're here for something, but you don't know what it is and you feel really unfulfilled, then perhaps your purpose right now is to go on the dissension journey of unraveling and unpacking and healing and removing all of the things that you're not, that you're identified with, so you can learn who you truly are, right? So maybe your purpose or your mission right now is to simply heal. And honestly, like, big parts of my purpose and my journey are to lean back and be in my own process. And I get so frustrated when I'm going to do a whole podcast about the void as well. So I'm just touching on like all the subjects because they're all interlinked. But this is, again, deserves a whole thing on its own. When I'm in the void space between creations, or I'm being prepared, right? Like, it takes me through a process of preparation for the next thing. Before I did that mass like healing activation thing that I did recently, it was like 6 months of being prepared energetically, of receiving initiations, of clearing some stuff, of dealing with lots of entities attacking me so I could be sovereign and strong to be able to clear all this negative energy in the space, right? Whatever it was, taking back my power so then I could embody that sovereignty to be able to help others to step into their power. In those moments when I was doing nothing and healing and just having to be in my own energy, or clearing some shit, or feeling some shit, or evolving through some shit, even my relationships initiated me, right? And when I'm going through this stuff, I'm not able to show up online. I'm not able to create art in the ways that I am when I'm being guided to, this is the thing that you need to do. And between containers, like healing containers that I offer, I'm often taken through an initiation to receive the codex of whatever it is that I'm here to share with the world. And that looks like me spending lots of days doing nothing, being by the pool, nurturing my body, talking to spirit, meditating, right? So even in the not doing, in the surrendering, in the being in the void of not knowing, in the cosmic nothingness, that empty space of like, I don't know what my next step is. I'm in the winter cycle of nothing's really going on and I don't know where I'm meant to go from here. I was literally in this space like a week ago, and then it was like, do the podcast. And it's like, bam, suddenly all my Kundalini's like, I just want to fucking create and do 3 podcasts in a day, even though my throat really hurts, right? And that's what it's like for me. That's how I operate. So be okay to be in that space of not knowing. And I'm going to leave it there because that is definitely a whole podcast. And I don't want to start talking about it, because if I do, then I'm not going to give it the, what's it called? The weight that it really needs to have. Oh, sorry. One more thing that actually it's related to that, but I feel like it's important when we're talking about purpose. What I see the most showing up in my clients, right? And people who come to me to activate their soul gifts and mission is that they don't know the how, right? They know that they have gifts. They know that they're here to serve. They feel this pull, they feel this call, but they don't know the how. Or they don't know the next step, or they think that they need to know all the details before they do it. It's a saboteur wound. It's a perfectionist wound. It's your human mind thinking that you need to know the how. When you start to move into the heart space and the knowingness of beingness, of being connected to that intuitive channel of your soul guiding you to the next thing, you don't need to know the how, because you allow your soul to operate through you, right? You become this channel for creativity, for creation, for healing to occur through. And so I would say, if you're like, you don't know the how, you don't know the next step, the work for you to do is, firstly, releasing those saboteur tendencies that tell you need to be better, you need to have all the details, you need to be more prepared, you need to know the XYZ, rah, rah, all of that stuff. Release that, like deal with that shadow element of yourself, transmute and integrate it. Because the opposite of saboteur is the magician, which is pure like magic. Creates, he doesn't know the magician doesn't know how magic works. The magician just creates magic from a place of trust, right? So once you can transmute that needing to know, and allowing magic to move through you, then you move into a more empowered version of that shadow. Yeah, so let go of needing to know the how. And also, really great work for you to do is start connecting to your past lives, right? This is how I came into my gifts really fucking quickly, because I literally was like, show me who I am and what I'm here to do. And then it was like, bam, all of my past lives all at once as a healer and a shaman and a medicine woman and a witch and all the trauma that I went through. And when I went back to those past lives to relive those experiences, I connected on a multi-dimensional level to those gifts, and I brought them into this incarnation, into this body. And it's like they just came online, right? So you actually know the how. Your soul knows the how. If you have healing gifts, you already know how to use them. Your mind is getting in the way. So let your mind get out of the way and just say, hey, I am open to serve. I'm open to heal, and trust that the more you clear your channel, you do the work to become a clear vessel. So stop judging yourself and having to know the details and all the logical processes. Let it happen through you, right? Let your soul express through you. And you do that by connecting and building trust with your soul. So bringing you right back to the start where I said, you need to start connecting to your soul essence and your soul frequency and who you've been. And that will give you a framework of understanding of what you're here to create in this lifetime, right? Our karma, our past lives are just windows to look into what I might be here to experience in this lifetime or share in this lifetime based on who I've been already and what wisdom I've had already, or what lessons I need to learn from things that I've done in the past. Karma isn't a punishment. It's an understanding of what am I here to bring through now, or do differently, or balance, or bring into neutrality, or whatever it is. So I'm going to wrap that up here and now. In the next episode, I'll be talking about connecting more to your intuition and your psychic gifts. Maybe not next episode, but in one of the next episodes, I feel it's coming through, and it needs to come through as I began to talk about, following those nudges and the intuitive downloads. But even as a practice today, like just be asking, hey, soul, what am I here for? Hey, guides, I really, really want to know what my purpose is. And you might need to ask that for a long time before it starts to be revealed to you. And it might come in small snippets, in small little hints. And it might not be revealed in its totality because maybe you're not ready to receive it yet, right? Like 5-6 years ago, I wasn't ready to receive this. So it was like little nudges, like, oh, it felt really good to help that person. Oh, suddenly all these people opening up to me and sharing their stuff with me. And I don't know why people think that they can share this stuff with me. And, like they feel really helped by me. And then I was like, oh, I guess I'm here to help people. And then began the tangent of all of the journey that led me here, right? So just ask, hey, if I'm here for something, show me. And you will be supported because your soul wants you to express itself through you, right? Thank you for listening. Let me know if this served, and I will see you next time. Thank you for listening to another episode of Cracked Open. Don't forget to hit subscribe and share with a friend if this episode has served you in any way. For more information about the work that I do, or to get in touch with me, read the show notes or head to beckmylonis.com. Until next time, beautiful soul.